Good evening, everyone. It's so nice to see all of you here. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Megan, will you call the roll?
Yes. Trustee Lautner?
Here.
Trustee Zara is absent. Trustee Council?
Here.
Trustee Sheehan?
Here.
Trustee Stewart? Trustee Caputo?
Here.
President DeCipio?
Here.
A quorum is present, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Next up on our agenda is Employee Recognition Ceremony. Julia?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, earlier this evening, we held a celebration, a cake and coffee celebration, honoring and celebrating our employees who were experiencing a milestone anniversary in increments of 5 years. We had an opportunity to have cake and coffee together and get to know one another once again. For each employee, this is done every 5 years. This is the portion of the celebration where we are getting a little bit more formal and recognizing each of the employees for their achievements and providing them with a certificate in their honor for their milestone anniversary, as well as a little gift from the village for their wonderful service to all of us. One thing I would like to say about our employees is they are fantastic. They are the backbone of what we do in terms of customer service and delivering the services to our residents and making sure our operations are always going smoothly. From the bottom of my heart, on behalf of the village president and the village board, thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do day in and day out, not just every 5 years. Thank you for what you do for each other. Thank you for what you do to your residents. Thank you for the positive attitude. And thank you for all of your ideas. Thank you all very much. What I'm going to do, thank you very much for that round of applause. They all deserve it so much. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call off your name. And as I call your name, if you can come up, we'll provide you with your certificate and your gift from the village, and we'll get a round of applause, and everyone will get to know each other even a little bit more, okay? Does that sound good? Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to start off with Kim France from the Finance Department. She's a fiscal assistant. She's celebrating 5 years. Kim. Congratulations. Thank you, Kim. Next on our list is Matt Holmes, who is in the fire department, firefighter, 5 years. Matthew. Thank you, Matthew. Next on our list is Charlie Porter. He's in our fire department. He's a firefighter. Charlie could not be here this evening, but we will accept this for the time being until we're able to catch up with them. Next on our list is Christopher Seneca, 5 years in the fire department, firefighters. Chris is not able to be here either. Okay, we will hold that for Chris. Next up on our list is Patrick Reichel, 5 years. Is Patrick here? Okay, we'll hold his too. Next up on our list, this one's a little tricky. This one is one of our directors, one of our department heads. And that is Rick Ratty, who is our Public Works Director, celebrating 5 years. Woo, woo, Rick. Woo. Okay, so I know that you all know that Rick hasn't been here for just 5 years. Before he went to Bensonville, he was with us for 19 years, so he's been with us altogether 24 years. Rick, thanks for all that you do, and congratulations. Glad to have you back. Next on our list is John Jandek. He's our superintendent in our Public Works Department, celebrating 10 years. John. Thank you. Okay, we'll make the next one quick. Julia Cedillo, 15 years, village manager. Thank you.
Yay!
Thanks.
Yay!
Appreciate it. Next one on the list, celebrating the milestone anniversary with me, Lou DeJesus in the fire department. Lou, firefighter. Congratulations. Thanks. Next up on our list is Michael Murray, celebrating 15 years in our fire department. He is unable to be here. We'll hold his as well. Next up on our list is William Drake, celebrating 20 years in the fire department. Bill Drake is a lieutenant in our fire department. Thanks for all that you do. Congratulations. Next up on our list, also a lieutenant in the fire department, Patrick Hurley, celebrating 20 years. Patrick could not be here. Round of applause for Patrick. Next up on our list is Scott Habenicht. Scott is celebrating 35 years with the village.
Yay!
Scott, congratulations. Scott is celebrating 35 years with us as an auxiliary officer in our police department, and he will be retiring this year. Thank you for all that you've done for the police department. In a week. Thank you very much. And last but most certainly not least is Allison Chorley in our building department and fire department. So Allison is celebrating 40 years with the village. Allison serves both our fire department and building department. She's a building and fire specialist in the department. Allison is the position that we've been working so hard to fill in the building department, and what to say about you and all of that you have helped us with over the years. For those of you that don't know, Allison has a photographic memory, and she has just been incredible as it relates to institutional knowledge, just like all of you have been who have celebrated long-term milestone anniversaries. Allison, I can't wait to celebrate with you when we have your retirement party. 17 days. Thank you for all that you do. We are going to miss you. And also, Scott, we are going to miss you as well. So thank you all. How about a round of applause?
You guys stand up. Stand up.
That concludes that portion of the agenda, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Let's see something wrong with that. Okay, before we move on, I'm going to do a little presidential privilege here. I'm going to introduce some guests with us tonight. Boy Scout Troop 90 and 33, correct, are here tonight. They're doing a community municipal project, so I want to welcome all of you. We have with us tonight Delia Casipo, and then we have three young gentlemen who are probably going to be up here someday, Isaac, Moses, and Simeon. Otter, welcome, thank you. And I'm extending out to any one of you that would like to say a few words to the board. Yes?
We also have this gentleman here, if you want to stand up and say who you are.
I'm Troop 33 with Diego Avalos. I'm just here too.
Thank you, Diego. If anyone would care to say a few words to the board? Young men, young lady? No? Okay. Thank you for being home. Not yet. Well, thank you, and good luck tonight. Hope you get enough notes. If not, the trustees are available after the meeting. Okay, moving on, public participation. Any public participation? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to consent agenda. Megan?
Thank you, Mr. President. The items on this evening's consent agenda are as follows. A, approval of minutes. 1, Village Board meeting, April 23rd, 2024. 2, Village Board work session meeting, May 14th, 2024. 3, Village Board closed session meeting, May 14th, 2024. B, action, authorization to destroy executive session recordings. Motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the destruction of certain verbatim records of closed meetings. C, action, 2024 water and sewer rates. Motion to approve an ordinance amending the Village of LaGrange Park Municipal Code establishing water and sewer rates. D, action, accounts payable and payroll summary. Motion 1, to authorize the president and chairperson of the Finance Committee to sign the register for bills and authorize the treasurer and village clerk to sign checks and payment of operating bills and salaries as itemized in the check registers. And motion 2, to authorize the village treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in the payment of payroll and other bills that become due between this date and the next village board meeting, with subsequent approval of the payroll register and voucher register by the Board of Trustees at its next meeting.
Motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. We're going to move on to the village manager report. Julia?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I have just one item to report on this evening, and that is regarding our IDOT scoping meeting, which took place earlier today. Staff was present to meet with various staff members from the Illinois Department of Transportation. The team, led by Maggie and Derek, included Derek Rockwell, who is our senior planner, Maggie Jar. We had Rick Raddy, Mark Lucas, and myself. So we presented our projects to IDOT just this morning, following a prepared agenda by staff, as well as a prepared PowerPoint where we made the case for certain improvements on LaGrange Road, north of Brewster and south of 31st Street, which included some enhancements to the roadway, some improvements in terms of signaled intersections and pedestrian crosswalks, as well as the lowering of the speed limit on LaGrange Road. We answered questions by the IDOT staff. They have requested that we provide additional data to them, which we will be due. This data is related to our requests, and from there we will await their feedback and next steps towards putting together a final project request. And with that, unless if there are any questions, that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Julia. Moving on to Administration Committee, Trustee Council.
Thank you, President DeCipio. My report is as follows. Community Volunteer Day. Thank you to all who participated in the village's annual Community Volunteer Day on Saturday, May 18th. Volunteers assisted older adults in the community with gardening and other outdoor spring cleaning, and they also worked on beautifying a number of spaces around the village hall. Thank you, volunteers, for your amazing generosity and teamwork. Youth Commission vacancies. The village will be seeking 2 new members to serve on the Youth Commission during the next school year. This is a great opportunity for students in grades 7 through 12 to engage with their peers on community issues. The meetings are held once a month on Monday evenings from September through June. Just visit the village's website to learn more and apply by June 28th. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Council. Building and Zoning Committee, Trustee Lautner.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening from the Building Department area, I have the monthly report as well as 2 items for discussion and action. First of all, for the month of April, 80 building permits were issued in April 2024 as compared to 103 issued in April of 2023. As of April, the pace of permits submittals year to date is slightly less than the pace of submittals at this time last year. Estimated construction costs for the last month was $1,679,636, which is considerably less than the $3,204,496 that was realized in April of 2023. The difference in cost can be attributed to permits supporting Plymouth Place, the Grange Park Public Library, and Kensington Place. Permit fees collected last month equaled $30,476, and that's less than the $49,228 of permit fees collected in April of 2023. 164 building inspections were conducted this past month as compared to 134 in April of 2023. Only 10 inspections were not approved during the month. Total of 19 new code enforcement cases were recorded last month. 5 of those projects were closed out, and the remaining 14 cases require further code enforcement action. And get to the action items for discussion and action. There we go. First item is special use permit request for 1045 North LaGrange Road. And the background on this is that the applicant, Alex Thomas, is seeking a special use permit for 2 additional uses at the BP gas station at 1045 North LaGrange Road. The applicant is requesting a special use permit for a motor vehicle rental establishment, which, if granted, would allow the applicant to operate as a U-Haul neighborhood dealer and provide a local option for individuals to rent moving trucks and trailers. The applicant is also requesting a special use permit for minor motor vehicle service and repair, which, if granted, would allow the applicant to rent the 3 existing garage bays to another business for minor motor vehicle service and repair as permitted under the zoning code. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing regarding the application on April 16th of 2024. The applicant attended the hearing and provided testimony. The minutes from the meeting, court reporter transcript, and approved findings of fact were attached in our board packet for our review. Upon conclusion of the public hearing, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the special use permit for motor vehicle rental establishment, subject to certain conditions by a vote of 6-0 unanimous. The Commission also recommended approval of the special use permit for minor motor vehicle service and repair, subject to certain conditions, also by a vote of 6-0 unanimous. Staff has reviewed this and been involved in the conversations and discussions and review. Staff does concur with the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Commission. So as such, I'd like to make a motion to approve an ordinance granting special use permits for motor vehicle rental establishment and minor motor vehicle service and repair for 1045 North LaGrange Road, Alex Thomas, case number 24-0001.
Second.
The motion is second. Discussion. Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. I did have a chance to review the text and the request, and considering that the Planning and Zoning Commission has reviewed this in addition to staff, I would certainly support this. I would like to provide the opportunity for our Director of the Building Department area, Ed, to offer any comments or any clarifications on any questions that might still exist.
So one of the things we've been working with Alex on for the last few months is elevating the property maintenance portion of the facility. So he's made a lot of strides in terms of, we inspected it prior, he's made a lot of strides towards improving all the things that we found of issue. And he's even taken a little initiative in terms of getting ahead of some of the things that are within the language here, and is kind of getting ahead of things as well.
Yeah, I know that there had been some issues that you had reviewed, and so he's making good progress on those, addressing those issues?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he's doing well.
Okay, very good. No other questions I have. I would support this, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Any other comments from the board? Trustee Caputo?
Thanks, Mayor DeCipio. What happens if you are in favor of one portion but not the other? How then do you vote for this? Because one is the repair and one is the rental. So how do we work that out?
We can take a separate vote on each special use permit.
Okay, thank you.
So trustee Caputo, you'd have to separate the question into two
Okay.
questions.
Yeah, because I,
So there's a motion on the table, so you can amend the motion if you'd like.
okay.
Trustee Caputo has to say how he wants to amend the motion, and then the trustees vote on whether the motion should be amended.
I would be in favor, obviously, that was a gas station that has a repair, garage, so I think that part is okay. If we are trying to make Manheim LaGrange Road look better, and we're trying to get the people with, excuse me, the cleaners as well as the, oil place, the Jiffy Lube, get better, I don't think it's a nice sight to see U-Haul rentals being parked out front if we're trying to make the LaGrange Road be a nicer passageway for our neighborhood. I think something like that could work maybe in a more industrial kind of part of the town if we want to allow some kind of rental, but I don't think, if we're trying to beautify the street, I don't think U-Hauls on LaGrange Road would be something I'd want to see it as a resident and a trustee as well.
Trustee Sheehan?
Thank you, Mr. President. To piggyback on Trustee Caputo, it's my understanding that there'll be no more than 2 vehicles at one time. This is correct? So it'll be, a drop-off, pickup, but no more than 2. And at some point recently, they've had quite a few trucks there. So I think if we hold them to 2 and they self-police and there's enforcement within the village, I did share Trustee Caputo's concern that, we don't want to see 5 or 6 or 10 trucks there. It's unsightly, and especially you go a little bit east and a little bit north or south, and it's a residential neighborhood. So as long as there's strict adherence to the 2 vehicles, I would support that. So there's only going to be 2 vehicles, correct?
Maggie, I'm bringing the microphone your way.
Yeah, it's true, no more than 2.
Yes. In order for the property owner to meet the off-street parking requirements for the 3 proposed uses, there are only 2 parking stalls that could be dedicated for the rental for U-Haul trucks or trailers. So they would be limited. That's one of the proposed conditions with the special use permit approval, is it would be limited to no more than 2 spaces for that use.
Could they be parked in the back end where like the car wash used to be, or does it have to be where they are exposed across from Matone's in visual, whether there's 2 or 4, however? Is there any way we could not have them visible for a pickup right in the front?
We did think about that. The area towards the southeast corner of the property is actually abutting a residential property, and so if there was a new development there, a buffer yard would be required. So we didn't want to propose striping for parking in an area where there would otherwise need to be a buffer. So of the 2 locations where there are available parking stalls, on the south side of the property, which is adjacent to a multifamily residential property, and then the north side of the property, which is adjacent to commercial, staff had advised the applicant that the northern location adjacent to other commercial would be more appropriate given the proposed use. So that was found to be the best solution in terms of locating the use on the property.
Thank you.
Trustee Caputo, did you still want to divide the question?
Yes, if we could. Yes.
Okay, so why don't you make a motion then that you'd like to divide the motion into 2 separate?
I'd like to make a motion then to divide the rental part from the repair shop.
You have a second? Second. We have a second discussion? Again, Trustee Caputo?
Just on whether we should amend the motion.
Right. Just on the motion?
Yeah, I have no further discussion. Thank you.
Okay. Megan, any other comments from the board? Seeing none, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. So we will divide the question. Okay, Trustee Caputo. Let's just take them one at a time.
Yeah, so we split the motion. So the first motion will be motion to approve an ordinance granting a special use permit for motor vehicle rental establishment. for 1045 North LaGrange Road, Alex Thomas, case 24-0001.
Okay, trustee Caputo, so if you would read that again to approve an ordinance granting special use for the motor vehicle rental establishment?
I'm sorry, could you repeat what?
Go ahead and just read the motion.
Motion to approve ordinance granting special use permits for motor vehicle rental establishment,
For 1045.
1045 North Manheim, I'm sorry, LaGrange Road.
Do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. Discussion again, trustee Caputo?
No further discussion.
Okay, any other comments from the board? Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
No.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
No.
The motion passes by a vote of 3-2, Mr. President.
No, it's 3-2. It's a favorable vote.
Okay. So the motion passes. Do you want to read the second one now, trustee Caputo?
Sure. The second one is for the minor motor vehicle service and repair for, motion to approve ordinance granting the minor motor vehicle service and repair for 1045 North LaGrange Road.
Special use
Special.
permit.
Second.
And a second. Discussion? Okay. Any other comments from the board? Seeing none, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you, trustee Caputo.
Thank you, Mayor Scipio.
Go ahead, trustee Lautner.
Thank you, Mr. President. The second item for discussion and action is regarding an extension request for zoning variations to 507 East Woodlawn Avenue. On September 26, 2023, the Village Board approved Ordinance 1210, granting zoning variations for a parking lot reconstruction project at 507 East Woodlawn Avenue, sought by Jewel Food Stores, Inc. and Woodman of the World. A building permit was not obtained within 180 days of the date of approval. Therefore, the variation expired on March 24, 2024. Per section 153.057H of the zoning code, the village board may grant one extension for up to an additional 180 days. And section 153.057H revocation of variation reads, nor the village board granting a variation shall be valid for a period longer than 180 days from the date of such order unless a building permit is obtained within such period and the erection of alteration of a building is started or the use is commenced within such period. The Planning and Zoning Commission may recommend, and upon such recommendation, the village board may grant one extension of this period valid for no more than 180 additional days upon written application and good cause shown without notice or hearing. Women of the World submitted a letter to the village on May 10th of 2024 to request an extension for an additional 180 days. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the letter during its meeting on May 22nd, 2024, and recommended that the village board approve the extension request. An additional 180 days from the date of expiration would make the variation valid until September 20, 2024, so long as the building permit is obtained and installation of the parking lot reconstruction is commenced by that date. Staff concurs the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and as such, I would like to submit a motion to grant an extension for the variations granted in ordinance number 1210 for an additional 180 days to September 20, 2024. Second.
We have a motion second. Trustee Lautner, before we continue, I'd just like to mention that Marsha Owens, the attorney for Woodman, is here. And if you would care to say a few words, Marsha, it's up to you. If not, we'll move on. Okay.
I'll take any questions, but I don't have anything else.
Okay, thank you. Okay, trustee Lautner.
Yeah, I certainly think that this has been approved before, it's been discussed before. It's a request for an extension of 180 days. Nothing else has changed in what they're requesting. So I anticipate that we'll see this begin in 180 days and look forward to the modifications that they've reviewed with us. So I would support it.
Thank you, trustee Lautner. Any other comments from any of the board? Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you,
And-
Marcia.
And I believe that concludes the report and action item discussions for the Building and Zoning Committee.
And thank you, trustee Lautner. Moving on to engineering capital projects, trustee Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President. Design work has started for the Edgewood and Richmond water main project, which will include the installation of a new water main on Edgewood Avenue between Ogden Avenue and Woodlawn Avenue, and on Richmond Avenue between Nazareth University and Park Road. The general scope of the work will include the installation of approximately 1,400 feet of 10-inch water main on Edgewood Avenue and the installation of approximately 1,200 feet of 8-inch water main on Richmond Avenue. The project is scheduled to be completed later this year. Suburban General Construction completed work on the 23-24 sewer repair program. About 84 feet of sewer ranging from size 8 inches to 15-inch diameter was replaced. The project involved point repairs on sewers located throughout the village that were identified to be in bad condition based on recent televising and cleaning projects. Lastly, National Power Rodding Corp. finished work on the 23-24 sewer lining project. A total of 2,854 feet of combined and stormwater sewers ranging from size 10 to 15-inch diameter were lined. This is a yearly maintenance program in the village that involves lining sections of the sewer that are in poor condition before they need to get completely repaired. And that concludes the engineering and capital projects report this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you, trustee Stewart. Okay, moving on, public safety, trustee Caputo.
Thank you, Mayor Recipio. First of all, I will discuss the Police Department summary of activity for April 2024. In addition to the attached statistics, the following items are being reported to apprise the village president and board of trustees on current police department operations for the month of April 2024. The total number of crimes reported for the first 4 months of April 2024 are lower than last year, with 78 incidents reported this year compared to 101 in 2023. Traffic enforcement is at 1,187 total tickets issued through April of 2024. Overall, police activity is approximately 5.6% lower to last year, with 1,082 total incidents reported in the month of April 2024, compared to 1,145 total incidents in the month of April 2023. Of those 1,082 total incidents, 87 were assisted to the fire department, 268 were self-initiated building or park checks, 218 were traffic stops, and 67 were closed home checks. Department members attended 297 hours of training, along with the completion of required monthly online training and Lexipol daily training bulletins. The police department welcomed assessors from the Illinois Law Department Accreditation Program, ILEAP, to the department to conduct an assessment for department accreditation. The police department staff, in conjunction with the DEA, participated in the annual drug take-back day on April 27th. We collected over 50 pounds of expired or unused pharmaceutical drugs. Thanks to everyone who dropped off items for proper disposal. As a reminder, the police department has a drop box in the lobby available for residents during normal business hours. Deputy Chief Strezzo, Commander Morocco, and Chief Contois attended the 3-day Illinois Association Chief of Police Conference that was held in Tinley Park. Officer OIC Wilk attended a 2-day Women in Law Enforcement Conference in Peoria. The police department staff assisted Ace Hardware with their 100-year celebration that took place on Saturday, April 27th. Please follow the police department on our Facebook page at LaGrange Park Police Department, our Twitter account at LaGrange Park PD, and Instagram at LaGrange Park PD. A friendly reminder about securing one's personal property at all times. Please lock your vehicles and residences, especially during overnight hours. If you're going on vacation, please utilize the online vacation watch portal frontlinepss.com/the Grange Park, or log onto the village website and access the portal under the police department page. If you do not have internet access, please feel free to fill out a vacation watch card at the police department between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Any additional questions, please let us know about that. That concludes the police report. On to the fire report. As requested by the village, the insertion for the village board meeting agenda packet, the following is a brief summary of the fire department activities highlighted for the month of April. There's a comprehensive monthly report is kept within the fire department for review for more information. EMS incidents this month were 151. There have been 615 year-to-date compared to 608 year-to-date in 2023. Fire and rescue incidents this month were 50. There have been 187 year-to-date compared to 172 year-to-date in 2023. The office area of the fire station 2 were painted and new carpet was installed. Thanks to our personnel who helped coordinate this and move furniture and equipment, and paramedic firefighter Jim Tolf, who did the painting. Several of our personnel attended live training at the Romeoville Fire Academy, which was hosted by Division 10 training officers. 2 of our personnel assisted with instruction. Candidates trained on vehicle extrication as part of their fire academy. Squad 1226 was taken to the drill site in Carroll Stream so they could utilize and become familiar with our rescue tools. The staff worked with Madeline on a final design for the next year vehicle sticker, which will honor the fire department's 125th year anniversary, taking place next year in February of 2025. Personnel participated in MABUS Division 10 Rapid Intervention Team Training, which took place at the former Countryside Village Hall building. Our new grant-funded multi-band mobile radios were installed in our fire vehicles, and several fire department personnel participated also in the Ace Hardware 100-year anniversary event. Chief Magos attended FDIC International late last week in Indianapolis, which included great educational sessions, product demonstrations, networking, and there were over 36,500 attendees from 67 different countries. I have a couple quick incidents of interest. On Tuesday, April 9th at 8:44 a.m., personnel responded to a minivan fire in the main parking lot at Barnesdale School. It was extinguished fairly quickly, but some minor damages occurred to 4 vehicles parked adjacent to the van due to the radiant heat. On Thursday, April 11th at 1:04 p.m., personnel responded to a pedestrian struck by a car who was crossing Homestead at LaGrange Road. And the final incident was April 21st at 10:21 a.m. Personnel responded to oil that spilled on the roadway in the 200 block of East 31st Street and created a hazard. Fire department personnel spread oil absorbent and requested Public Works to who had responded with a load of sand. IDOT then came out and cleaned the road. That concludes the fire report, but I do have one more item for agenda to discuss. This topic is basic operations for the Fire Academy tuition payment. The general background is the fire department recently sent 9 new employee paid-on-call firefighters candidates to the College of DuPage Basic Operations Fire Academy. They began the academy in January this year and graduated on Thursday, May 16th, attending a fire academy and eventually attaining certification as a basic operations firefighter through the Office of the Illinois State Fire Marshal's Office is a requirement of continued employment. At some point during the academy, COD tried to send an invoice for the tuition to the fire department. Unfortunately, until very recently, no one discovered it was being sent to the email of an individual who is no longer at the department. We were then recontacted to pay the invoice. As such, we still owe payment for the tuition. The COD Academy costs $3,342 per student, who through employment with us are all charged an in-district rate. Based upon sending 9 candidates, though, the cost of the invoice is $30,078. We initially budgeted $20,050 for the last fiscal year in our early planning stages to hire 5 candidates, but based upon increased recruiting efforts, and the number of new employees needed due to turnover, we decided to hire 9. A budget amendment was made to our overall training budget account mainly for this reason, and with this budget amendment, there should be adequate funds available to cover the increased costs. The staff recommends the payment of $30,078 to the College of DuPage in Glenview, Illinois for the tuition. Action request is discuss an action for payment for Basic Operation Fire Academy, and the motion is to approve the payment of $30,078 to the College of DuPage in Glenview, Illinois for Basic Operations Fire Academy tuition for 9 paid on-call fire candidates.
A motion, do I have a second? Motion and second, discussion, trustee Caputo?
Well, we know we've had some issues in the past with staff for both fire and police department, and you know, with some of these turnovers and need for additional employees for this department. I feel it's a necessity to approve this budget and pay this invoice for the police, the fire department candidates that went through this program. I have no further discussion.
Okay, we have a motion and second and discussion. Any other comments from any of the board? Chief, any comments? None?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Megan, go ahead.
We hate to bring things this late, you know, especially this dollar amount, but there was confusion with the invoice, and we did have to hire those people and get them through the academy, so I apologize for that.
Not at all. Thank you,
Thanks.
Chief. Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, trustee Caputo.
Thank you. That concludes my agenda.
Next up, Public Works, trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Staff replaced 2 lead service lines with copper pipe and repaired 1 water main break. Public Works continued water line surveys with residents by hand delivering notices. Staff has collected positive data and will continue through the summer. 2 catch basins were replaced. The spring tree planting program occurred with the planting of 40 new trees. A great deal of work was performed at the village dump site. A new fence was installed for safety and security of the materials stored before final removal. Director Ratty and Superintendent Jandik attended the State Water Conference, WaterCon in Peoria. Foreman Larry Leonard attended the Illinois Public Service Institute in Effingham. He has completed year 2 of a 3-year, and he'll be graduating next spring. Street patches were completed along with parkway restorations. GIS work continued collecting data in the village-owned assets along with continued training throughout the village. Water meters were read in section 1. 15 monthly bacterial water samples were taken. Various water and sewer work orders were completed, along with resident tree concerns and general construction inquiries. Routine maintenance of the department's fleet and equipment was completed, as well as on public police and fire vehicles. And that concludes Public Works, Mr. President.
Thank you, trustee Sheehan. Finance Committee, trustee Leitner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance report for this evening represents a financial performance through April of 2024. The village has now completed fiscal year 2024, which began May 1st of 2023 and concluded April 30th of 2024. While the fiscal year ended April 30th, this is not the final report for fiscal year 2024. Staff will be continuing to work on that process for future reporting. For the next few months, we will continue to process any outstanding payables and receivables which apply to fiscal year 2024. These items will be reflected in the village's annual audit report, and that will be issued later this year as well. Fiscal year to date, general fund revenue of $11,463,762 is 107.2% of the annual budget, and $71,837 or 0.6% less than last year. Property tax receipts are $421,712, greater than last year, and that's due to an increase in the levy and timing issues with Cook County's tax extension and collection process. Other local taxes are lower by $180,508 or 14.5%, and that's due to lower utility and telecom tax receipts. Natural gas tax is lower following the decline in prices. Intergovernmental receipts for the period are up 17,761 or 0.5% from last year. Sales tax and income tax are above last year, while use tax and personal property replacement tax are lower. Licenses and registration revenue is at 18,349 or 6.1% lower than the prior year, and that's due primarily to a decrease in vehicle sticker sales. Permit receipts are 510,998 or 52.2% less than the prior year, and that's primarily due to the permit fees last year for the Plymouth Place project. Charges for services are at 82,184 or 8.2% lower than last year, and that's due to a decrease in ambulance fee revenue. This is partially as a result of a short delay in collections as the village's billing company transitioned to a new system. Fine revenues were 11,134 or 11.9% lower than last year. Miscellaneous revenue is 291,863 or 144.2% greater than last year, and that's due to increased interest income. Total general fund expenditures of $10,037,087 are at 95.9% of the amended budget and $349,769 or 3.6% greater than last year. And at this point, all departments are projected to finish the fiscal year within their amended budgets. And that concludes the finance report through the end of April of 2024, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Okay, other reports. The village clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Our village treasurer.
No report tonight, Mr. President.
Our village engineer.
No report tonight, Mr. President.
Our village attorney.
No report, Mr. President.
And commercial revitalization, Trustee Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President. Aldi, 333 North LaGrange Road. On Thursday, May 30th, the village of LaGrange Park will celebrate the official grand opening of Aldi at 333 North LaGrange Road. We look forward to this new affordable grocery store opening its doors at the Village Market Shopping Center. The ribbon cutting ceremony will begin at 8:30, and the first 100 customers will receive a free bag of Aldi goodies, shopping tote, and a golden ticket that could be worth up to $100. Property revitalization program. The village is now accepting applications for the new property revitalization program, which will assist property and business owners who aim to enhance the external appearance of their properties. In order to be eligible, a building must be used for commercial purposes and must be located within one of the village's TIF or business development districts. Visit the village's website for more information. Branding and identity plan. Earlier this month, the village board approved the selection of SPAN for consultant services to develop a branding and identity plan for the village. This plan will create a clear and cohesive identity for the village and will be used to implement streetscape improvements and improve signage and navigation. More information regarding this program, including opportunities to participate in community engagement activities this summer, will be posted in the village's website and shared in e-briefs. Lastly, the next Commercial Revitalization Committee will take place Tuesday, June 11th at 6 p.m. at Village Hall. Businesses and members of the public are invited to attend and provide input on how the village can best support new and existing business and enhance the commercial areas in LaGrange Park. And that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Stewart. One question. I've been asked by some of the trustees, I'm not going to say who, but they want to know if they should camp out the night before at Aldi's to get the goodie bag. Only 100 of them, so we're going to have to get there early.
3 a.m. will do it.
Thank you, Trustee Stewart. Motion to approve committee and collectors report as presented.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I just have a couple items. I want to thank the scouts for being here tonight. You guys are the future of our community. We're here for you, so if you need any additional information, please contact me or any of the trustees or staff, because we're here to help you in your endeavors and make sure that you're successful in everything that you do. So thank you for coming tonight. I have the privilege tonight of congratulating one of our very own, Deputy Village Manager Maggie Jar. Maggie was selected to be recognized as one of the 30 under 40 professionals in the West Cook region. It's an honor and great publicity for our community. Thank you, Maggie, and congratulations. Thank you, Maggie. We can do that again if you like. Okay, Aldi was already mentioned. Trustee Sheehan and I attended the Memorial Day function on Monday, and I want to thank our fire and police for both being there and the presentations that you showed. And we're so proud that you guys are there for us, and it's just a great honor. Thank you. Public participation. Anybody want to speak yet? No? Okay. New business? Any new business? Trustee Caputo.
No, Trustee Caputo was with us too on Monday.
And Trustee Caputo was with us too. I'm sorry, Trustee Caputo. Any other business, new business? Motion to move into executive session? Oh, the executive proclamation. We're not done yet, Scouts. Sit down, relax, we got one more item. Proclamation Emergency Medical Services Week. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, whereas the Village of Grange Park provides a community-based EMS system comprised of well-equipped, well-prepared, and dedicated paramedics, emergency medical technicians, firefighters, police officers, and emergency medical dispatchers. Whereas the members of our emergency medical services are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. Whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating the Emergency Medical Services Week. Therefore, be it proclaimed the May 19th to the 25th, 2024 be recognized as Emergency Medical Services Week. Therefore, resolved that the Village of the Grange Park Board, in acknowledging the 50th anniversary of the EMS Week and the theme Honoring Our Past and Forging Our Future, recognizes all those who have in the past and those currently that are dedicated to providing emergency medical care to those in need in our village. Therefore, I have set my hand and caused the seal of the Village of Grange Park to be affixed this May 28, 2024. I just want to personally thank all of you, all the emergency services, that the care you provide to our residents and us in need. It goes well beyond what we expect, and you go above and beyond again. So thank you all both for all the emergency medical provided services you give us, and gives us comfort to know that you're there. Any other business? New business? Seeing no new business, motion to move into executive session?
I submit a motion to move into closed session for the purpose of discussing the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body in accordance with 5 ILCS 120/2C1, not to return to regular session until the next regularly scheduled board meeting on June 11th, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. in this room.
Second.
Motion is second. Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Council?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Everyone, please have a great week, and thank you for coming tonight. We'll move into executive session.